This video is sponsored by Skillshare. If you hang around to the end, I'll give you a link to try 2 months of Skillshare for free. Imagine for a second that you're a soccer player. And yes, I mean soccer. Because in this particular case, you're living in Wellington, New Zealand. It's 2012 and you've spent the last 5 years playing professionally for the Wellington Phoenix. You're ready to retire and find something new. But instead of continuing on in the realm of sports, you launch a Kickstarter for a shoe idea that you've been kicking around: wool sneakers. You manage to raise $119,000 in just 5 days and go on to found one of the fastest growing shoe companies in March of 2016. This atypical path of creating one of the most popular shoes on the market is that of Allbirds co-founder Tim Brown. Alongside his co-CEO Joey Zwillinger, Brown has managed to transform the simple idea of a casual wool sneaker into a company that's valued at $1.4 billion. So, what is the reason for Allbirds' tremendous success? What I really want to know is whether Allbirds are popular solely because they're comfy, or whether they're growing rapidly in part because of their environmental practices. Sheep. That's where this all starts. Sheep's wool is the cornerstone of Allbirds' supply chain and is the epitome of Allbirds' successful innovations with sustainable materials. In a way, Allbirds' approach to building their shoes is what drives their success. When creating their brand, Brown and Zwillinger identified the unnecessary traditions of a stagnant shoe industry, and not only changed their approach to crafting a shoe, but did so in a way that stands by an environmental ethic.
I'd get nervous when I told people I was working on shoes made of wool. I would get nervous when it was my turn to tell people what I was working on, because it was a bad idea long before it was a good idea, but we had the courage to keep on going. We had the courage to keep listening.
They essentially had the courage to imagine a shoe that could be both chic and sustainable. And their use of high quality materials is a perfect example of this. Allbirds' flagship shoe, the Wool Runner, uses merino wool for the upper, recycled plastic bottles for the laces, and castor bean oil for the soles. The common saying goes that there are more sheep in New Zealand than people, and Allbirds relies on that massive population of fluffy animals to create their shoes. The company only sources their wool from a collection of sheep farmers certified by ZQ, a New Zealand-based company that holds its farmers to strict environmental and ethical standards by routinely auditing farms with third-party certifier Assure Quality. Ultimately, ZQ supplies Allbirds with sustainable, ethical, and traceable wool for their shoes. And yes, traceable means ZQ has a map of over 400 farms on their website, so you can see exactly where each fiber is coming from. In addition to wool, Allbirds is trying to shake up the sneaker industry by creating a shoe made out of tensile lyocell, which is essentially eucalyptus tree pulp spun into fibers. Not only is this fiber biodegradable, but the chemicals used for creating the actual tensile can be recovered time and time again. According to the Austrian-based Lenzing Group, which produces the Allbirds tree fiber, they're able to recover and recycle 99% of the chemical solvents used during the tensile creation process. Lenzing has perfected its eco-minded process to such a degree that they are now Forest Stewardship Council certified, and even won the European Award for the Environment from the European Commission in 2002. And according to the Allbirds website, the eucalyptus fiber is sourced from fast-growing tree farms based in South Africa that minimize the use of fertilizer and rely on rainfall, which means that 95% less water and half the carbon emissions are needed when compared to a material like cotton. That being said, some have pushed back against eucalyptus tree plantations in South Africa as an invasive species that might harm or crowd out native plants. But on the whole, the Allbird tree shoes are one of the most eco-conscious on the market due to their high resource efficiency and comparably low environmental impact. Despite all of their efforts in procuring the most renewable resources for their shoe, Allbirds does still have a carbon footprint. Granted, the emissions associated with producing an Allbirds shoe is relatively small at 10 kilograms of carbon, according to a self-conducted life cycle assessment. When compared to the 50 kilograms of CO2 required for a shoe made by Everlane, a company that prides itself on its environmental ethics, Allbirds' production practices seem pretty low carbon. And recently, Allbirds has announced that they are going carbon neutral in 2019 by purchasing carbon offsets, which they admit is a temporary patch and claim that they are committed to decarbonizing their supply chain by inventing new carbon-free processes. They used their sugarcane-based sweet foam sandal as an example of this, explaining that every ton of material that they use pulls 2.5 tons of CO2 out of the air due to sugarcane's carbon capture properties. So Allbirds is clearly trying to work many angles to reduce their environmental impact. But are people buying their products because of their sustainable practices or just the comfortable design of the shoe? After looking behind the scenes of Allbirds, I think that question kind of misses the point. The meteoric rise of Allbirds is the product of innovative thinking, especially when it comes to sustainability. Co-founder Tim Brown continues to emphasize that the 3 pillars of their company are deeply connected, claiming on their website that comfort, good design, and sustainability don't have to be mutually exclusive. I think it's this both-and mentality that's driving the Allbirds hype. Allbirds shows us that a path towards more sustainable products requires imagination, flexibility, and creativity in order to truly push the boundaries of what a sustainable shoe can be. Because often, sustainability and environmentalism deal in the business of less, or giving up comfort. But Allbirds shows that that doesn't have to be the case. A sustainably sourced shoe can also be a very comfortable shoe. That might seem like a simple statement, but that's a remarkably creative approach to a stagnant shoe market. This then might be the key to their success and popularity. Dreaming up and actually creating an environmental ethic that's central to making a shoe which Time magazine deemed the most comfortable in the world. When I started making YouTube videos, my motion graphics skills were terrible. I had to teach myself basically everything and it took forever. Luckily, you don't have to go through that, because now you can learn about animation and video editing all in one place. Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 25,000 classes covering topics like motion graphic design, video creation, and much, much more. Skillshare has been an essential way for me to hone my motion graphic skills and ultimately create the highest quality art-changing climate videos possible. I especially love the course taught by Sonia from Kurskasat in a Nutshell, which shows you the essentials of creating, rigging, and animating figures in After Effects. Above all else though, Skillshare is affordable. Their premium membership gives you unlimited access to high quality classes for under $10 a month if you sign up for an annual membership. So join the millions of creators and learners on Skillshare today with a special offer just for you. If you use the link in the description below, you can get 2 months of unlimited access to Skillshare for free. Hey everyone, Charlie here. Before the video ends, I just want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. They are an amazing group of folks who support me month in, month out on this wild video making journey. So thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in 2 weeks.